thank you for coming today. I'm so excited to do this and a bit nervous, so bear with me. So I'm here to talk about how to find your rhythm in showing up as a personal brand on Method. Today's not one of them because we're all here. And okay, I'm Colleen, and I'm a copywriter. And I was born and raised in the Philippines. And it's not Thailand because I've been asked this. I'm like, no, it's on the left, somewhere. I'm not good at geography. And I can be pretty biased, but I think our food is way better and cuter. And I guess, like, how did I end up in Stockholm? Well, I'm glad you asked. But my story is pretty basic, I would say. And it's a lot of people's stories. But long story short is I met a boy. And I moved here because of him. But at first we were like, I'm an independent woman. I don't need like a Sambo visa. No, I can do it on my own. So we kind of like started applying in 2019 to like companies here. And it wasn't like a big thing yet, remote work. And I think there was a time where I was even doing an interview with like an advertising firm here. And I heard this like really loud siren. And I was like, what is that? There's like the purge happening in Sweden. And they were like, no, we have this thing called Hendrik.
I'm not sure. I'm so sad.
Frederick. Yes, that one. Yeah. So I was like, okay, maybe it's not working out well. But then Miss Rona happened. We all know it happened. And Miss Rona happened. And the world kind of stopped. But the good thing, I think the silver lining was that it kind of accelerated the freelancing economy. Like people were hiring remotely and everything. But moving here was still like a struggle. So we were like, fuck it. I'm going to lower my pride and like take the Sambo visa. And let's fucking go. So I had like a 4-minute wedding, which was the long version, they said. And I won't re-traumatize myself with my migrationsverket story. I'm not yet healed from that. But when I moved here, I was like, okay, maybe it might be better now. Like, I live here, I can apply for jobs and everything. And maybe I can even take my husband's last name because it's every Swedish person's last name. But no, the ending was kind of the same. They were asking me if I knew Swedish. And unless Prustet counts, that's the only word I knew then. And älskade, that's it. Then no, I didn't know any Swedish at all. So I was like, okay, can I just fucking DIY my career? Like, is that possible? Because honestly, like, I think moving to a new country, I don't know if you guys can relate, it's a bit hard. Now, right? Finding a job in a new country and like starting from like the bottom of the corporate ladder doesn't feel so good for me. So I was like, never mind, I'm just gonna wing this. And I was already kind of like writing in the Philippines on the side of my like marketing job. And I was like, okay, maybe I can do this, but I was getting paid like half a sec per word, which was like nothing, right? Like kyckling right now costs like 100 SEK per kilo. So I need to like write a lot to just buy like chicken, right? And yeah, I love chicken. But eventually I actually got a job. I got a job in Newsweek, which was really cool. And I was like, it's like probably every writer's dream to get like a byline. But not for like, humpy dog food, like not so cool. But like writing articles kind of like paved the way for me to like see like, okay, there's something here, something I can work with. But, we were expected to write 2,000 words a day. which like, holy shit, that's a lot. Like my creative juices were so dry, drier than my skin during winter. So I was like, I feel like I can do writing, but there like must be a way where I can probably like earn more. And I don't know how, but like, you know how Facebook listens to you? And then suddenly I got these ads on my copywriting. And I was like, ooh, that sounds like where the money is. So that's where I found conversion copywriting. And for people that aren't familiar, conversion copywriting is basically copy that moves the reader to a yes, using persuasion strategies and like sales psychology. Okay. And this is probably like the reason why I love copy so much, because people say that, okay, you're like a naturally born writer and you just like come up with all these like fun stuff to write. And I'm like, actually, it's not. You know, copy is not written, it's actually assembled. So the better you are like research and data mining, the easier it is for you to like find that missing message. So it's sort of like a puzzle, right? You do your market research, and then when you find that specific message that you're like, okay, this is gonna land for my audience, it's just so like really fulfilling. I like to see that translate into results like sales. Like it's just, it can't be compared. So like copywriting has definitely, you know, given me the freedom to like live in Sweden and buy chicken, basically. And it's given me the freedom to just, you know, choose if I want to work on a Monday, to buy 2 days of Taylor Swift tickets, to eat Skagen Rara every day, and not the 30-sec tubs, the really fancy ones. But like this business has given me just the freedom to decide, you know, to have that option, and to not like have anyone say, oh, you can't take a sick leave today because, you know, whatever reason, or to have to ask permission from anyone. It's just given me so much freedom to just, you know, live life. But being a business owner isn't always factura rainbows and client butterflies, especially when you're a personal brand. So I'd love to know, are there any like personal brands here, freelancers? And then chat later. So some days you wake up and it's like one of those days where you're just like, okay, I just want to like lay in bed or throw my doctor out of the window and be like, I don't want to do anything. But when you're a personal brand, you know, you're expected to like, you run a business. You need the money to like come in. So you're like, okay, how do I like power through when showing up and be like dragging your tomatenväska with snow stuck in the wheels? Which, by the way, really sucks. Has anyone tried that? Yes. I didn't know it was like stupid. So I was so proud of myself from like going out to ICA that day. And then when I left, I was like, oh, no. So showing up on social media can feel like this. And which brings us to how to find your rhythm in showing up as a personal brand on Netflix. So I want to ask, does anyone know or has anyone played Sonic the Hedgehog? Any kid? That game? Yeah, I'm not the only millennial. Okay. So this is basically my strategy for showing up. So life experience. So that is me. So your life experiences provide an abundance of raw material for content, right? I think right now we live in a world that's like how to steal my 3 things or whatever, right? But everyone's like doing that, and it feels like, you know, everyone's competing at that level, like you get lost in the crowd. So what I do to become uncopyable is that I think of content as those like little rings in Sonic, and like these are little things happening throughout my day. and I just kind of like collect them in my notes app, and whatever you guys call it in Android, I don't know. And I just collect them, and then I turn them into content and then relate them back to my audience. And I'm going to share like 3 examples of how I've turned in like life moments into content. So one would be spring in Sweden. We all love spring in Sweden, like the cows who are like running wild. And I kind of like related it to, how I was just in the bus and I saw these like purple flowers, and how like being a business owner is a lot like being a flower. You go through seasons, except the flowers don't complain, right? They don't like complain like, hey, I'm in the dirt, like they power through it and then they still do. And I kind of, it resonated a lot with my audience because they're like, yeah, we kind of like rush things all the time. We want to grow fast, right? So that's like one moment. And then another moment would be having that time of the month. And like sharing how, like being a bit like vulnerable and sharing like, okay, I was like crying my eyes out, stopping my face with deflower or whatever. And while, my copy was doing the work for me, and how I was still able to like sign clients, right? And that resonated with a lot of people because they were like, okay, I want to cry too and like make my and then another would be like just buying organic food for my cat. Some people would be like, oh yeah, I'm winning in life. I was like jet setting through Asia and whatever. But for me, like, just want to buy like organic food for my cat. And, that kind of shows the values that I have. And, when you want to connect with someone, you create that, like, when you share personal stories, you're sort of like casting out that connection thread with them. And when you're a personal brand, you want to be able to resonate with them as a human. I think we'd be lying to ourselves if we said that we are not living in a time where it's the vibe economy, because everyone is sharing like, okay, top 5 copywriting hacks, whatever. Everyone does that. But like, how will you get hired for you? So the only way to get hired for you would be through, sharing more of your story, sharing more of yourself. And then you create that snowball effect, which is rhythm. So the better you get at collecting these content rings, the easier it will be for you to actually like show up even when like it's been like a shit day, right? And yeah, and the results are pretty sweet if you ask me. I've posted like 5 times. I'm not very consistent at posting because I have a lot of tumeh base. This is why I came up with this strategy. But yeah, you're sharing your authentic experiences and insights. It's always valuable. And, I said this before, when you share your insights about yourself and your experiences, you become uncopyable. Unless there's someone that's like, really want to copy you and your experience. There are people out there. They're right up to and I will leave you with a framework on how to take inventory of your day, just so you can like practice and like really like you set muscle, intuitive muscle. So the framework is just pretty simple. It's just like what happened, what's the lesson, and how can I relate this back to my audience, right? So actually that's it for me. That's my presentation, and thank you so much for listening. And if you have questions, is that for Q&A? Yeah.